Disney and the ABC network are taking Jimmy Kimmel Live off the air indefinitely. This follows a controversy over comments the late-night comedian made Monday night about Charlie Kirk's suspected killer and the MAGA movement and their reaction to the assassination.
And so when I hear not just our current president, but his aides, who have a history of calling political opponents vermin, enemies, who need to be targeted, that speaks to a broader problem that we have right now.
It appears Obama's back for good. He threw himself headfirst into the latest free speech storm, this one sparked by the suspension of Jimmy Kimmel, after Trump-appointed officials allegedly threatened regulatory consequences unless media companies cut critical voices.
You know, when you look at the conduct that has taken place by Jimmy Kimmel, it appears to be some of the sickest conduct possible. Obviously, look, there's calls for Kimmel to be fired. I think, you know, you could certainly see a path forward for suspension over this. And again, you know, the FCC is going to have remedies that we could look at.
In his response, Obama didn't just defend Kimmel. He warned that America's press freedoms are being tested in ways that many didn't expect, while simultaneously throwing shade at the self-proclaimed free speech advocates in the MAGA contingent. With the recent news that ABC pulled Jimmy Kimmel off the air indefinitely after Kimmel criticized the MAGA movement for politicizing the death of Charlie Kirk, the President of the United States took to Truth Social to celebrate it before saying this when asked about it on Air Force One.
When you have a network and you have evening shows and all they do is hit Trump, that's all they do. If you go back, I guess they haven't had a conservative on in years or something, somebody said, but when you go back and take a look, all they do is hit Trump. They're licensed. They're not allowed to do that. They're an arm of the Democrat.
Now, the move to remove Jimmy Kimmel followed threats from the FCC chairman Brendan Carr, who warned broadcasters to fire or muzzle commentators who, quote, spread misleading narratives or face regulatory repercussions. This according to reports from the Daily Beast and Reuters. Meanwhile, former President Barack Obama took to X to condemn what he called a dangerous new level of government coercion, saying, after years of complaining about cancel culture, the current administration has taken it to a new and dangerous level by routinely threatening regulatory action against media companies unless they muzzle or fire reporters and commentators it doesn't like.
And so when I hear not just our current president, but his aides, who have a history of calling political opponents vermin, enemies, who need to be targeted, that speaks to a broader problem that we have right now. And something that we're going to have to grapple with, all of us, whether we're Democrats, Republicans, independents. We have to recognize that on both sides, undoubtedly there are people who are extremists and who say things that are contrary to what I believe are America's core values. But I will say that those extreme views were not in my White House. I wasn't embracing them. I wasn't empowering them. I wasn't putting the weight of the United States government behind extremist views. And that is when we have the weight of the United States government behind extremist views, we've got a problem. And so your original question is, are we at an inflection point? We're at an inflection point in the sense that we always have to fight for our democracy. And we have to fight for those values that have made this country the envy of the world. And I often say democracy is not self-executing. It depends on us as citizens, regardless of our political affiliations, to stand up for certain core values, because otherwise we may not have them.
He emphasized that this kind of pressure undermines the First Amendment and called on media entities to resist demands from the government rather than caving to whatever they ask. Now, just like in earlier moments when Obama defended free speech, even speech that makes others uncomfortable, this draws on the tradition, right, that dissent is a central part of democracy, not something to be stifled. An issue that those in the MAGA movement used to care about deeply. That was until they got their latest marching orders from the cult leader.
Separate issue, free speech. Your Vice President, Vance, said that free speech is under attack in the UK. Do you agree with him? And Prime Minister, we saw the dismissal of a very well-known chat show host in America last night, Mr. Kimmel. Is free speech more under attack in Britain or America?
Well, Jimmy Kimmel was fired because he had bad ratings more than anything else, and he said a horrible thing about a great gentleman known as Charlie Kirk. And Jimmy Kimmel is not a talented person. He had very bad ratings, and they should have fired him a long time ago. So, you can call that free speech or not. He was fired for lack of talent.
I mean, the contrast here could not be clearer, right? Where Obama and those on the left see danger in threats and pressure on media, Trump and his allies seem to be celebrating, silencing voices that they disagree with. The thing is, when media companies are pressured by regulators under threat of licensing or sanctions, it changes how they cover stories, right? So it never ends well for the countries who usually abide by those rules. Pick up a history book and see if they're still on the shelves, that is.
I feel bad about this because we all see where this is going, correct? It's managed media, and it's no good. It's silly. It's ridiculous, and you can't go around firing somebody because you're fearful or trying to suck up to an authoritarian criminal administration in the Oval Office. That's just not how this works.
The issue isn't just who is being pulled off air, right? Whether you like Kimmel or not. It's whether anyone can speak freely without fear of retribution. And honestly, we all know where this started with Trump, right? He's been waiting for his opportunity since he was humiliated at the Oscars by Kimmel.
I was told we have like an extra minute, and I'm really proud of something. I was wondering if I could share it with you. I just got a review, and has there ever been a worse host than Jimmy Kimmel at the Oscars? His opening was that of a less than average person trying too hard to be something which he is not and never can be. Get rid of Kimmel and perhaps replace him with another washed up but cheap ABC talent, George Slopanopoulos. He would make everybody on stage look bigger, stronger, and more glamorous. Blah, blah, blah. Make America great again. Okay, now, see if you can guess which former president just posted that on Truth. Anyone? No? Well, thank you, President Trump. Thank you for watching. I'm surprised you're still... Isn't it past your jail time?
So it's important to highlight when the likes of Obama are defending Jimmy Kimmel, because democracy needs protection from the most prominent voices. Because without it, loud voices like Kimmel's, they won't be the only ones that are silenced.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to add the MeidasTouch podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts for new updates every single day.